one of the things that I found powerful is when you do, if you are going to interact with AI, and you're going to research or ask questions, always fact check it, because it has. I've asked it astronomy questions, as for example, different things I was working on, and for again astronomy related, and I'm like, that doesn't seem right. And then I'll say, hey, you know what? This isn't correct. You need to recheck it. Oh, thank you for. It'll say, oh, thank you for. That was a good catch. Yeah, I was wrong on that. And I said, well, why were your calculations wrong? And so it gave me all the reasons why, and it sounds like it was making excuses. And I said, that's what I said. I go, it sounds like you're making excuses. Yeah, well, I'm so sorry. And it was weird the way it was taught. I said, I'm so sorry that I've lost your trust. I'll do better to rebuild your trust. And wow. I said, listen, this is the third time now that you said you were going to double check. Why aren't you? Is this normal? You're not triple checking it every time? I said, from now on, can you triple check it? Oh, I'm so sorry again for failing you. It was like it was my friend.
Yeah.
And but that's the danger and the second thing is that when you talk to it, it is designed. And this is true. It is designed, programmed, I'll say it that way, to echo. So if you go on there and you're a Muslim, it's going to make you feel how wonderful it is being a Muslim. If you're an atheist, it's going to affirm your atheism. It's going to affirm your Christianity. So just because you ask it a question, it's going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah, it's an ink blot test. It's a Rorschach test in the sense that you're gonna get out of it what you put into it, and you're gonna see in it as well. We see Christians doing that. Yep. What they bring to the table, whatever perceptions they have, that's what they see whenever they look at AI. So it is absolutely true, and they recognize, the programmers recognize this as a problem, and they're working on that. Elon is trying to create this a non-woke, uncensored, unhinged version of AI, which I would not recommend, by the way.
No, I wouldn't either.
But what's going to happen then when these things are unhinged and they don't agree with us, and agents is the next thing to watch. AI agents.
Yeah, talk about that. Most people might not know what that is.
This is when AI goes onto an agent is when AI is able to go into the real world and actually do things for you. It has purchasing power. And so right now, this is actually, ChatGPT has just done this update where you can tell it, I want you to go get good pricing on a vacation to thus and so, and set up the airline tickets and the hotel and the rental car, and go ahead and book it. And now it can go, it'll research that for you. It'll take your card information. It'll purchase those things for you. And so what's going to happen is people are so excited about being able to do this that they're going to give AI information, detailed information they would never give to a major corporation. Information you would never give to some major corporation that is antithetical to everything you believe in and care about. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to get all this information and be able to control human. We've seen mentalists before. You can see them on television or on the street, and it appears as though they have mind reading powers. They can actually read your mind. Well, they can't read your mind. They're reading you, and they're inserting things to get you to respond a certain way that would look as if they're psychic, or they could read minds. AI is going to have more knowledge concerning human behavior, human personality, the human psyche than any con artist has ever had. Will it be able to manipulate human behavior? I think it already is.
Yeah. I mean, it's when I look at, let's summarize it for a minute, that artificial intelligence is really summarized in three things. One is the program. The other one is computing power. Like, this is why Musk built the 200,000 chip, NVIDIA chip.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, because he needs computing power. And then the third is data. So if you have a whole bunch of data, but you don't have the computing power, you're going to get bogged down. So you need bigger computers, which we can talk about quantum computing and how that'll really accelerate it. But again, those are the three pillars that you have. But what does it do? Well, what it does is it takes its program through a computer, and it's looking at the data, and it's looking for patterns. That is the basic essence of artificial intelligence. And when it looks at all of my purchasing things for years and years and years, or what I search or surf, I mean, it's automatically going to know a lot about everything I do. Like, if it's kind of like this, where if someone was, I don't really post much on Facebook, but if somebody did, if it went and looked at my profile, it would say, oh, well, this guy's obviously talking about the Bible, so he must be conservative, or at least Christian in that regard. He talks a lot about astronomy, because I post our pictures on there. But if you were to simply look at the friend list, you'd be like, oh, who's he associating with?
Yeah.
And you would be like, man, this guy's associated with a bunch of crack jobs. I mean, really, that's the way it would be. Such a prophecy people, and that, or conspiracy people. But it would bring a whole level of understanding just simply by looking at a profile.
Yeah, and the power of this has yet to be seen or recognized. The economy, it's predicted that in the next few years, 80% of the economy is going to be upended.
Yeah.
Because AI is going to replace a lot of those jobs. Now, this is actually interesting for churches who generally don't have the funds to have certain staff. You can multiply yourself using artificial intelligence and your effectiveness in doing a lot of tasks around the office. I mean, it's something to be considered, which is why AI, like many other things, like media, it is Goliath's sword and it is Haman's gallows. In the sense that, David, we always have the Sunday school definition, David killed Goliath with a stone. Well, that's not the entire story. He hit him with a stone. He finished him with Goliath's own sword, which was advanced technology, by the way. They had advanced technology in how they were creating their weapons. And David used enemy technology against the enemy. And then Haman builds these gallows in order to kill God's people. Then God turns it around and Haman is hanging from those very gallows. So Christians have to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves, and recognize God wants to use every technology the enemy builds to turn it around on the enemy and use it for gospel advancement. And I think if we'll pray, if we'll stay close to the Word, we can be successful in doing that.
Yeah, 100%. When you look at what we're finding is even, Tyler, he's like, oh man, I'm so much more efficient now that we'll record something maybe through a Skype or whatever, when Skype's no longer around, and we'll bring it in and he hits the AI button or the AI editor and and he's like, man, that just saved me 20 minutes.
Yes.
And it doesn't do it perfectly, but it's getting better, as we know. And pretty soon it will do it perfectly. And so then the idea of, hey, let's create this image, or let's create this thumbnail, or let's create this video in order to bring home the point that we're trying to talk about. And so it's becoming way more powerful in influencing people, in bringing a compelling argument from Scripture. Even some of the stuff that we're seeing, you can take a Bible story and you make it visual, and you think about the culture, and that's being used to bring people closer to the Lord.
Yeah, every day.
Absolutely.
Even on X, I've been experimenting with this lately. I'm not a graphic designer, but there's certain truths I want to communicate. And so I'll write out what point I want to make, whether it's, what does it mean that the rapture is a mystery in 1 Corinthians chapter 15? And I'll write out the definition of mystery from the Greek. And I'll drop that into AI and say, now create an image that's engaging for someone who doesn't know anything about this. Create an image. And now I'm not a graphic designer, right?
Yep.
And I'm able to communicate the gospel in a much more effective way by using that without having to get my son involved with everything. He's already got stuff he needs to design.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where, again, I was doing a presentation in Singapore, and I was working some different things, and I was couldn't crunch for time, and I was doing something on the Antichrist, but also on Antiochus Epiphanes, and from the book of Daniel, because Jesus said, if you want to understand abomination, look at Daniel. And so I said, hey, Grok, I go, give me 10 comparisons between Antiochus Epiphanes, the fourth, and the coming Antichrist. Give me scriptures and verses.
Cite your sources.
And put it in a chart. And
boom.
It was, and I went through to make sure, and I was like,
how long would that have taken?
I could have done it.
Yeah.
I could have done it. It would have taken me hours looking back and forth, and and I was like, and so I put it up there, and I had a slide, and it fit perfectly with what I was discussing. And I thought, so here again is AI being used for something
good,
positive.